Trump tax cuts are expiring at the end of the year, and on top of that, the IRS has now announced that it's going to be making the e-file program permanent, which is a waste of taxpayer dollars when you consider there's already a public, private, and free tax filing program that anyone making less than $79,000 a year can use. The e-file program would cost $250 million a year or more, and it seems to be redundant, pointless, really. Here with me to discuss more on this is the Vice President of the National Taxpayers Union, Brandon Arnold. Brandon, nice to see you back on the program.
Thanks for having me.
Well, glad to have you here. All right, so we don't need this program. Why would you spend $250 million on this or $50 on this if you already have a redundancy of the systems that people can pay taxes? Trust me, the government doesn't miss a beat when they make it easy to pay your taxes, do they?
No, I mean, the whole program is just ridiculous. In the Inflation Reduction Act that passed purely with Democratic support, they gave the IRS $15 million to study the feasibility of building this system. $15 million is a lot of money in the real world, not a lot of money in Washington, D.C. But instead of using that money to actually study the cost and feasibility and public interest, they just went ahead and built the darn thing. And now, as you mentioned, it could cost up to $250 million a year. And why? Why in the first place? Because there are free public-private programs that apply to more than 70% of taxpayers. Most people can do their taxes for free already using private software, yet the IRS decided to build a completely duplicative and wasteful service at the same time that the agency says it needs $100 billion more in funding above and beyond what it already got from Congress.
Yeah, there's all sorts of software programs, right? QuickBooks and different things where you can just plug in your numbers and figure it out. Now, having said that, I'd like your opinion on this. My opinion is, if you go to H&R Block, nothing against them, they've been around forever, or use one of these other, programs and so forth, for a few dollars more, you can probably get a CPA to take a look at your taxes. You'll probably get a bigger refund, save more money because they won't miss anything, and they'll make sure that your details are right. What do you think of that advice?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's sound advice, but the beauty of free markets is people can choose. Some people like the convenience of doing it on using software and not having to leave their couch. Some people would rather go face to face with a CPA and, go through the fine-tooth comb every receipt and in charitable contribution that they may have made, and people can choose their path. What we're going to see happen here is we're going to be railroaded into this IRS system eventually. Maybe I'm being a little conspiratorial, but I don't think so. And let's also take a look at the big picture here. The IRS has made revenue maximization, which is another word of saying squeezing every last nickel and penny out of every taxpayer. That's been its highest priority. So now we are putting the fox in charge of the hen house by, instead of having that CPA or that piece of software that is working for you and trying to minimize your tax liability, we have the IRS in charge, which is probably going to try to squeeze, again, every nickel that it possibly can out of you.
Brandon, you make a fine point. I like the free market system. People can make choices. Me, I'm a zealot. I want every nickel I can returned to me. I want every deduction I can find. I don't want to send one more penny with Washington or Lansing, as it were, where I live, on anything else. If it means one more penny in taxes, the answer is no, and that's just the way I am. I think a lot of people feel that way these days. I mean, look, inflation's an extra tax that we get to pay now, an $11,000 penalty in a lot of folks, so saving money is really important. Now, what you're suggesting, though, on this e-file system is that's going to be the way they require us all to pay taxes, so we don't have the benefit of a CPA. That's what I'm getting. Is that what you're telling me?
Well, that's not the stated goal here, but I think this is the nose under the camel's tent here. They started this as a pilot program in 12 states. They've already said not only is it no longer a pilot program, but we're going to expand it to the entire country. So as this program grows and grows, I think it opens up the door, certainly, for a situation where this is the only game in town. I hope I'm wrong there. I really do. But under an administration like we currently have, there's certainly a desire to house all of these functions within the government rather than allowing private sector competition, which, of course, caters to consumers and taxpayers much better than the government ever could.
And, here's my other question, Brandon, before I let you go. 80,000. Don't we have 80,000 new IRS agents? If they're going to do all these things by e-file and so forth, what are those 80,000 people going to do? Put a microscope and a magnifying glass on your return and my return and as many returns as possible, making life completely miserable and giving people ulcers all across America? I mean, they've got to do something to fill their time and justify their salary, don't they?
Yeah, they say they want to hire tens of thousands. They're trying to revise that down because they had such bad publicity when they released numbers saying it was going to be 80,000. So they're revising those numbers, but they do want to hire tens of thousands of people. And instead of using those folks to answer the phones or to, help taxpayers do the right thing, as many of us want to do, most of us want to do, they want to dedicate the majority of those people to enforcement activities. So like you said, poring over every mistake that you may have made on your tax return, going after businesses large and small, and again, squeezing every nickel that they possibly can out of taxpayers, rather than just helping us do the right thing, which the vast majority of people would do if they had a responsive IRS that cared about taxpayer services the way they ought to.
Yeah, it would be great news if they took that money and started to pay down the debt and took care of things. But Brandon, as you know, they take every nickel they can and find a new and interesting and fancy ways to squander our money. And sorry if I'm jaded, but that's where I am. Brandon Arnold, always appreciate you being here, my friend.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, after the break.